Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, ready? Shema Yasha'Allah, Yahawah, AHLAHAYANAWA, Yahawah. Shema Yasha'Allah, Yahawah, AHLAHAYANAWA, Yahawah. Shema Yasha'Allah, Yahawah, AHLAHAYANAWA, Yahawah. Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah YAHAWASHI, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah YAHAWASHI, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah YAHAWASHI, Bahashem QADASH, HALALYAMLA, AHLAHAYANAWA, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, Bahashem QADASH. Double honors to our apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS. Much to respect. Choosing to say Akim while leading the works. Shalom, shalom to you believers. Say Akim YAHAWAH, which be brothers and sisters who subscribe to this truth. All right, and as always, THAWADAH, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI for the QADASH. Giving thanks to our power for the Holy Spirit, gives us the understanding of the wisdom and knowledge of the Holy Scriptures, and have faith in the true name of our power. YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM QADASH. So, what lesson is edifying? All right, so it's edifying straight to the point. So, as you can see, the title of the lesson, the year 2023. It ain't looking too good for you non-believers, right? Yeah. For those who are unfaithful, especially those that were once in the truth and you left. All right, especially you. All right, 2023 looking too good for y'all, but it's looking pretty good for the for the sincere believers for the elect. All right, because when we see more chaos happening out here, more prophecy being fulfilled, it's pretty much more of a faith booster for the elect. All right, so I'm gonna play this. One of the brothers did a lesson, and we just screen record a certain part of it that stood out. And this the link is actually in the description box. This is the brother from GMS Awakening 144.n. Yeah, right. And the link is in the description box. So you actually watch that very lesson, very edifying, straight to the point. We're gonna play this quick clip real quick that we got from that lesson. All right, because it ain't looking too good for the non-believers, especially you, for you women, you independent, strong women. All right, it ain't looking too good for y'all the year we're coming into.
Following the state's criminal justice system. I know in talking with prosecutors and law enforcement officers, they're really concerned that the public is going to point the finger at them and say, okay, why aren't you doing more about these offenses? And with this major change in the law, beginning January 1st, a lot of their ability to do their jobs has been restrained. And like Windhorst says, local officers like the Johnson County Sheriff agree with Windhorst. Anyone sitting in jail right now with all these pending charges, they're going to be let out. The gates are open, they're going to be let out in the streets. And like Windhorst says, local officers like the Johnson County Sheriff agree with Windhorst. Anyone sitting in jail right now with all these pending charges, they're going to be let out. The gates are open, they're going to be let out in the streets. The bill passed, and like Windhorst says, local officers like the Johnson County Sheriff agree with Windhorst. Anyone sitting in jail right now with all these pending charges, they're going to be let out. The gates are open, they're going to be let out in the streets. The bill passed.
All right, so you heard it, right? You heard it, right? Even prisoners right now are going to be let. They're going to be let free. All right, yeah, they're going to be let free. Bad. All right, and you best believe there's a lot of prisoners right now, and most of the prisoners are our people, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Indians, but mostly you got mostly Southern Kingdom in there. Starting with the Judites, so-called blacks, right? Tribal Judah. They're probably in there. They probably haven't seen daylight in like years. They probably still got that rage because their baby mama or baby mamas put them in prison,
or found out that one of their homeboys was popping their bitch while they was in there. And now they got animosity towards him and her.
They just feel with pure rage, just looking forward to a day, a time where they can have, let's say, a so-called excuse to fucking let go of it, right? With no effects, without being punished for it, pretty much. Which most likely they still won't get punished at the end of the day by YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. But it's going to be a fucking field day for them, especially for you so-called strong, independent women. Oh, y'all through. I think I uploaded that picture if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. There's a picture that goes into like different see if I can actually upload what was live. Let's see, of the different laws, like the different crimes that Illinois can fucking commit. Let's see. You can actually upload something while we're live. I just learned something new. All right, so you see here, right? You see all those pretty much the crimes that over there in the state of Illinois can pretty much commit, right? You got aggravated battery, which is pretty much just whooping somebody's ass, right? Beating their ass. You can literally get into actual fist fight, and you probably you can actually hurt someone and get away with it. Aggravated DUI, you can be drunk as hell and get into a car accident and cause someone to be severely injured or put to death. All right, and you pretty much gonna be like a slap and a half for you. You might get a ticket. That's it. Or they might not even show up at all. They'll probably show up later on to the scene just to pick up the bodies. That's it. You got arson. You're gonna have a lot of people out there. That's it. No, pretty much like burning buildings, burning shit on fire. All right, so you see it all there, right? But the brother and I was talking earlier, man. Was talking how like over there in Illinois, right? We're just talking as a man. Like, there's probably a lot of people out there right now in Illinois who already got a countdown to January 1st, waiting faithfully for that ball to drop on December 31st at midnight. So pretty much January 1st, New Year's Eve, right? Waiting. And let's speak as a man. You probably want to have a lot of wicked ass jakes that's going to be fully prepared for that night. We want to have like gang members and just fucking trollmakers, some wicked ass Israelites out there. 2/3. They're probably dressing all black. They're probably gonna be dressing like fucking Purge, like the movie Purge, they're probably dressing with like fucking masks and looking like Halloween pretty much. Having weapons on them like machetes, different types of knives, bats with guns too, heavily armed, patiently waiting to once that ball drops, because they know that starting January 1st, 2023, which is the year of hell, right? They just wait for that day so they can finally go and commit those very acts. And there's going to be so much going on that, and because if I'm not mistaken, isn't Illinois like they're kind of like especially like in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, like they're very low on manpower for like police officers, right? So so they're not going to be able to show up to every crime, all right? And the brother and I was talking like, this, not only going to have the 2/3 that's probably looking forward to that day, these wicked ass Edomites who are proud about having that perpetual hatred for us. And they're going to wait, because there's another thing too, how in a different video, you got a sheriff, I think it's a sheriff officer, a sheriff deputy, somehow how like, if someone was to come onto your property, right, and they don't want to leave, they can just stay there. If they even want to live on your property, whatever the hell, the owner of that property can pretty much handle. He can pretty much handle, that situation how the owner wants to handle. So let's say you got a Jake on an Edomite's property. He's probably going to use that. He's probably going to he's going to take advantage of that starting January 1st to put your ass to death. And then let's say you try to flee away, right? And the Edomite pop you and kills you, right? He's probably going to drag you back onto his property and then call police and put in a report. And pretty much it's either the Edomite going to get a smack in the hand, a ticket, or it's just going to be a green light from hey, apparently according to that video, not this one, but the other time, how these owners can pretty much handle it how they want to handle it. All right. And so, don't be surprised that you might actually start seeing sedition among men, freaking, a lot of chaos going on, anarchy, purge-like. But another thing too that's on that image, kidnap. Okay, so let's say for example,
Go ahead, you prideful ass women, especially our women, so-called black women, Hispanic, Latina women, Native Indian women. Go ahead and still try to live that kind of lifestyle. You want to get drunk, you want to fuck around, you want to be careless pretty much, right? You want to be a careless woman, right? A lot of you women are going to end up missing, right? And it's not going to be just one guy grabbing you, you know, it's going to be groups of men putting women in vehicles and taking them somewhere and just ravish them, which is the biblical term for rape, right? And a lot of these also not going to show up to your aid, man. All right, that's going to be like the new norm. So what's going to go on in Illinois is eventually going to take place all throughout Babylon. That's these devils trying to usher in Ora de Keo, right? Just so they can bring in martial law. They can try to have an excuse to bring in their NWO. All right, it's going to get very bad out here, but let's get the scriptures now. I think that.
This is the book of Ezekiel.
And Shalom chapter. Shalom Yahawashi
Shalom Yahawashi Yahawashi. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 7 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI power, and evil, and only evil, behold, is come.
So in the NIV version, right? The NIV version, the New International Version, it says, this is what the Sovereign Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI said. Disaster, unheard of disaster. See, it comes. All right. And mind you, and it sounds like what? That scripture in Jeremiah where it said, I think it's at last that day is great, a time like never before, a time when Jacob's trouble. But we actually going to get that too. Yeah. So it's going to be disaster, and the NLT version say disaster after disaster comes. The NIV say disaster, unheard of disaster. See, it comes. We're coming to a time like never before. All right, it's about to get very, very gloomy and dark. It's about to be very bad out here, man. All right. What was the other one? Romans. Yeah, you can get that one. Using background right now. See, you got to go. So it doesn't matter if those who doesn't believe what we're teaching, the warning that trumpet we're blowing, the unfaithfulness. Hey, it is what it is. We ain't gonna believe. You don't gotta believe us, but it's gonna happen. All right, it's gonna happen.
The book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 3. What if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI without effect?
All right, so just because you don't believe doesn't mean that YAHAWAH BAHASHAM is not going to fulfill prophecies. All right, just because you don't believe in Jacob's trouble, you don't believe in this doctrine as a whole that started when I was talking to the elders and great wisdom for teaching. Right, just because you don't believe this doctrine, this teaching, this warning doesn't mean that prophecy is not happening. No, it's happening right now. It's really not. Okay, you just got to have the spiritual eyes to see. They were QADASH, and the spirit to see and understand what's going on. You got it. Yeah.
Now I was just looking at the precept for that one. Last one. The book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 16. It says that they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah saith, Lord, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, who has believed our report?
Right, so, but they have not all obeyed the gospel. So the two-thirds don't obey the gospel. They don't obey this good news. They don't obey this the words of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 3 through 4. Verse 3. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee, that speakest against thee.
So incredulity goes into unable to believe something. So don't let the two-thirds pretty much trouble you. Don't let the two-thirds. Don't let the two-thirds cause you to be troubled, to actually put in his work. Okay? So the two-thirds are the people of their spirit of incredulity. They're unable to believe the prophet. They're unable to understand that trumpet is being blown. When you're prophesying, you're warning.
Verse 4. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
So it's encouraged, right? You know, for those who doesn't believe, you're going to die in unfaithfulness, right? Because you lack faith, right? You have faith in everything else, but the one really true power that can save you, the very power that's stated from Egypt. Okay? You clearly believe in JC, you clearly believe in the so-called white man, whatever he says, or whatever she says, but you won't believe your own people, right?
In the same book, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verses 15 through 19. Verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands.
So, right, so, you know, hey, it's going to be a time like never before. So, you know, the swords, you know, modern day swords today could be, you know, guns, firearms, right? But shit, I wouldn't be surprised. You're going to actually have people out there with machetes, handmade, crafted, bats with nails poking through it with barbed wire.
Real battle axes and shit.
Yeah, they're going to have battle axes and shit. It's going to be crazy. Because at some point, much is famine too. It's among us. And that's when the shortages is here. The shortages overall. When you read that scripture, they say, the sown place shall bear unsown, in 2 Ezra 6:22. The storehouses shall be found empty. Storehouses, a similar term, is also armament. There's going to be shortages on ammo, on ammo. So people are actually going to have to, be crafty, have to create, swords, you say, and go against one another. Okay.
Verse 15. With the sword, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. There shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Right. So, sedition, right, goes into conduct or speech, inciting people to rebel against the authority or monarchy. Right. So, yeah, mind you, you already got Edomites out there. So, for white people already, there's a lot of videos like that out there too. How they're actually willing to go up against their own nation, their own people. They want to go against the government when they try to come in and take away their guns, trying to take away their weapons, their rights to carry. All right, you got a lot of veterans, combat veterans, Edomites, combat veterans, and those who are just pure and patriot spirit. That's literally willing to go against their kings and princes. All right, so sedition, right? So, that also can go into like different types of wars, like civil war, race wars, a whole million different types of wars, chaos out there. Okay, all right.
Verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able.
Like for example, martial law. All right. Mind you, there's going to be so much chaos going on out there that they're going to these Edomites are going to have to enforce some kind of law to control the amount of chaos that's going on out there. They're going to have as a man, like different checkpoints, at like different bridges, checkpoints to enter from this city to another city because there's so much chaos going on. They kind of control it.
Speaking from experience, we dealt with that in the military. ECPs, entry checkpoint, or just different entry points in general. That's how the military looks. Entry control point. Yeah. And
speaking for example, overseas, right? Where I was at, in Afghanistan, it was a very small compound, but it was very strict. Even though it was a small compound, but you needed at least a secret clearance. Either a secret clearance or a top secret, but you need to print to come through. When you come through, I would have words on shift. You got to scan you, tap you down, and do a checkpoint. Make sure we have the proper credentials to enter the facility. That's what's going to be like at some point too. You're going to need proper credentials to enter a certain city. You're going to have military personnel enforcing these particular laws.
Scanning you to see if you got that corona. If you don't,
as soon as a man, you probably won't be able to enter the city unless you got a corona. unless you most up to date with the different household. Okay. Yeah.
Verse 18. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
And so because of the pride of the people, starting with Edomites, because they're the ones that are orchestrating their engineering, they're staging all of the chaos that happens over that veil, so they can try to have an excuse to fulfill their NWO, ushering freaking martial law, warlike law. Okay, right. The part that stood out too is when it says, men shall be afraid. Yes, and men shall be afraid. Men shall be afraid. So you're gonna have a lot of men, so-called men, that's gonna fold up, man. They're gonna be in the spirit of a woman. Shit, you might have men coming to their woman trying to figure out, what to do. And your woman gonna be looking at you like, well, you're the man. You're the man. You tell us what to do. You tell me what to do. And that's going to cause, and a lot of women might leave their men because they're going to come to realize they like, damn, this nigga can't leave. He's after this whole time, he's really not a man. All right, men are going to be afraid every time they come home because they don't have the wisdom knowledge to give the stability of their time. They're going to stability and going to faith. So they're not going to have the faith to be able to maneuver, how to walk out here, right? And women are going to desire that anytime they're coming into it, right? They're going to seek the answers because their current so-called boyfriend don't have the wisdom knowledge, the blueprint pretty much on how to maneuver out here, all right? You got it?
Verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their house with the sword, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation.
Now, mind you, over there in Illinois, starting January 1st, 2023, right? One of the crimes that they pretty much can break is being able to actually enter someone's home, private property, right? And then not only that, they can also commit aggravated assault and battery, right? They can steal. They can probably kidnap you when they bring it to the spot, right? Because like it says in Matthew 24:12, because the iniquity teach our child bound, sin upon sin is constantly growing. The love of men is going to wax cold, right? You ain't going to have no love for one another, right? They're going to be out there, just doing whatever they want to do, whatever the demons that's on them tell them what to do. All right. Like I said, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and guns. You probably gonna have a lot of Jake shooting up Edomites places, Edomites shooting up a Jake place, right? And then and because of that, you're gonna be a lot of rioting going on, a lot of looting, right? People taking goods, people taking stuff, right? Stealing, right? Because of what? It says because of the lack of bread, famine, shortage of food, water, creating victory and daily bread, and med, right? And from great tribulation, from great sorrow, to perilous times, right?
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 8. We can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth.
Absolutely. So, like the scripture says, in Romans 23, we read it earlier, right? It's pretty much like, they go hand in hand with one another. So what if they don't believe, right? That doesn't mean God's not going to stop, right? So, the union bread, right? You can't. There's nothing that no one can do against the truth, but this for the truth. You got to accept the fact that there's going to be a Jacob. So there's going to be a famine. Many are going to perish from famine. There's going to be 200 million nukes that's going to hit this place and literally utterly burn this whole place. Ain't going to be no more America. You just got to accept the fact that, there's going to be a lot of chariots of YAHAWASHI W4Y, so-called UFOs, out here, stacking people up, delivering a particular nation, right? A particular portion of a particular nation, right? You just got to accept the fact that you're going to expect to see someone that looks somewhat like this coming down plead with many flesh, right? Judging many flesh, executing judgment and saving a particular amount of people. You just got to accept the fact that our power is not all love, right? You got to accept the fact that our power hate Esau, right? That whole nation, Esau, Edom, Esau, the white people, and he loves Jacob, the Israelites, right? You just got to accept the fact that all hell is about to break loose, okay? You got to accept everything that's in the Holy Bible, okay? All right? You got to accept prophecies. Right?
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 6 through 9. Verse 6. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness.
You put that in NIV, but you read that in NIV, I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
shit. You know, the NOT fire too. Sometimes the NIV would be like a haymaker, like, man, shit. Okay, all right. So the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse, what is it?
16.
Let's see. Let's start at 4 and 5. Okay? Let's start at 4. It says, these are the words that the Lord Yahawah concerning Israel and Judah. And both the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, so-called black, Latinos, and Indians. This is what the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi says. Cries of fear are heard, terror, not peace. All right? That doesn't sound like a power who's all love. Okay? All right? Verse 6. To the back of the brother. Ask and see, can a man bear children? Then why do I see every strong man with his hands on his stomach like a woman in labor, every face turned deathly pale? Read that again. Right? Ask and see, can a man bear children? Then why do I see every strong man, the so-called tough niggas, right? The so-called men, right? Right? You know, like, you know, for example, you got bodybuilder niggas, those MMA fighters, those that claim to be tough and shit, right? Ray and shit, OG dogs and shit. Nah, those niggas and shit, the type of niggas that our women like, right? They look at them like, oh, that's a real man right there, right? Well, guess what? Then why do I see every strong man, even like let's say military men, right? Then why do I see every strong man with his hands on his stomach like a woman in labor? Every face turned deathly pale. Why? Because, you know, the time we're coming into is going to be a time like never before, right? Disaster, unheard of disaster coming, right? We're going to have a lot of men that's going to fold up, man, right? I'll read verse 7. How awful that day will be. No other will be like it. It will be a time of trouble for Jacob, right? Talking about our nation, Israelites, black, females, and Hindus. But he, right, the elect, right, and the remaining of the 1/3, right, so the elect. But he will be saved out of it. Saved out of what? The wrath of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, the trouble, hell breaking loose, purge like society, these damn devils, Esau, Edom, come down with that great wrath. You know, saved from famine, from sword, destruction, newly created creatures, teeth of wild beasts, strange apparitions, monsters apparitions, World War III, Civil War, and pure chaos. You know, pretty much having that thawad, right, that mark, be exempt from judgment. They will be delivered and be saved out of it. We're willing, we are the men, following our fathers and elders, and we're messing on them. And we gotta.
Oh,
so
yeah, so you already started reading the rest of this.
Yeah, verse 8. What did you?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
You already read it.
In that day declares the Lord Almighty, I will break off the yoke off your necks, and I will tear off your bonds. No longer will foreigners. Oh no, that's something else. That's talking about being free to pay. Yeah, the points from 4 to 7. You know, concerning our people, the 2/3, it's going to be a very awful day for them. Okay, men, women, and children. Okay, not only the elect are going to be having that hedge of protection when you say that. All right, For an example, because you got brothers out there in Chicago, Illinois. You got brothers out there in Illinois that's teaching, that's preaching, that's prophesying. All right, and they're going to be saved out of it, Lord willing, when January 1st, hits. All right. Shit, these fucking devils can probably usher in that very law before fucking the first. It can be like, hey, do it now in December or next month.
Do it in October when Halloween popping.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verse 3 and 4. Verse 3. Therefore, there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people from the world. Then do thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning.
So, brother made a good point too. How, let's say, that actually starts happening out there in Illinois, right? That's going to cause an uproar of the people out there because they're in fear, they're upset at the fact that why none of the police officers are out there enforcing laws to control the amount of chaos going on out there. So that might eventually lead to what? Sedition among men. You're going to have, let's say, the thugs, right, versus the city protectors, the fucking neighborhood watch, some shit like that. All right, that's going to be sedition among men. That can eventually lead to civil war, right? Race war, different types of wars within the city, town, state, right?
And shit, it's going to lead to that too because, like that little screen recording we had posted, showed you guys earlier. They're talking about they about to release all the people that were that were held up for certain sentences in prison.
I'll play it again. So whoever's on here right now, you can actually hear for yourself. It's 58 seconds long, but it goes
about to release these prisoners, man.
These prisoners are going to be released. All right, take us out.
Following the state's criminal justice system. In talking with prosecutors and law enforcement officers, they're really concerned that the public is going to point the finger at them and say, okay, why aren't you doing more about these offenses? And with this major change in the law beginning January 1st, a lot of their ability to do their jobs has been restrained. And like Windhorst says, local officers like the Johnson County Sheriff agree with Windhorst. Anyone sitting in jail right now with all these pending charges, they're going to be let out. The gates are open, they're going to be let out in the streets. And like Windhorst says, local officers like the Johnson County Sheriff agree with Windhorst. Anyone sitting in jail right now with all these pending charges, they're going to be let out. The gates are open, they're going to be let out in the streets. The bill passed, and like Windhorst says, local officers like the Johnson County Sheriff agree with Windhorst. Anyone sitting in jail right now with all these pending charges, they're going to be let out. The gates are open, they're going to be let out in the streets. The bill passed.
Hey, you heard it for yourself, right? All right. Person's about to be released from jail, man, and it's going to be like freedom from like, damn, okay, and not only that, they're going to be let free during that time when all these types of crimes can pretty much be committed. That sounds like That sounds like the movie Purge, right? Mm-hmm. All right, you had 24 hours to get away with certain crimes, right? Murder, arson, kidnap, aggravated assault. Aggravated DUI, intimidation. I think insult of a public affairs, some along the line. All right, but yeah, all right. These televisions, there's these Edomites telling a vision right before your fucking eyes, man. Telling a vision too, right? And it's definitely not going to look too good for your woman, real too, man. All right, you gotta have it. Oh yeah, you can get that one now if you want.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 24. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear of those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run.
So there's already some states here in Babylon, aka America, that's already experiencing the springs of the fountain standing still, which will not run. And if it does run, you got dirty water coming out of it, very polluted, filthy water coming out of it. And at some point, you're gonna actually start seeing friends fighting against one another like enemies because of what? The earth will stand in fear of perilous times. All right, because because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Okay, going to family. All right, it's gonna be about me, myself, not pretty much. How can I get some food? How can I get some water? How can I get some meds, some strong drinks, nicotine, cigarettes, drugs, and all this shit, right? All right.
Got a precept for that one too.
You got it.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 5, verses 8 through 10. Verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. Verse 9.
Oh, so look like this is, the reason why there's going to be confusion also in many places because you're going to have a lot of people, behaving, they just bugging out. They're losing their mind, because iniquities and sin shall go. The love ain't gonna wax more cold and cold. I don't want to do chaos after chaos after chaos, right? A lot of people gonna be confused because they don't have the wisdom and knowledge of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI to keep them safe. Okay, a lot of people are going to seek for answers. That's why there's going to be so many confusion going on in so many cities because they don't have that spiritual garment, right? The RAWCHAA, the spirit of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI, before the enemy, to keep them safe and with them out.
Verse 9.
And wild beasts shall change their places. So think about it, right? You're going to have prisoners being escaped, and that's going to be let go too. And mind you, let's not forget how, there was that constant threat about blackouts, EMPs, right? And a lot of these zoo animals are going to be released from the zoo, and they're going to change their places, right? They're going to be out here having to adapt to the cities, to highways, to a new environment, adapt into it to hunt their prey. Okay, and you remember how the scripture says how there shall be no man to till the ground. So these predators may take advantage of that. These grass that's going to grow real tall, they're going to use that as an advantage to hunt prey. Men, humans. That's what it says. People, wild beasts. Okay, and say, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. So you got a lot of these wicked ass women. When they give them birth, they bring forth children with like some kind of deformity, some kind of mental disorder. That's why they bug the fuck out. They wicked as hell, right? Some kind of deformity. Right?
Verse 9. And salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. Friends shall destroy one another. And how you be mentioning how when someone fight like enemies, they're seeking to destroy one another. They fight to the death. Verse 10. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and contention, be multiplied upon earth.
That sounds like Matthew 24:12, because the iniquity and the are bound, right? Midwest cold. All right. When it's like a perfect society, it's nothing but love of many waxing cold for one another for 24 hours. All right. Oh, it's 12 hours. Like I thought it was 24 hours. The water correction. Yeah, in the first movie, it's 12 hours from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. When all crime is legal.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
damn, they only got a few hours. Damn.
Just imagine that type of society, but for like days, weeks, months, right? Because we don't know exactly how long this subject will last for, but it's definitely not going to be for only 12 hours, right?
Yeah, no.
Right.
Water. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, and verse 11. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone.
Right? So there's going to be a crying. People are going to be seeking for answers, right? That wine, it can it's both like seeking for answers, right, from the prophets, right, the wisdom and knowledge, but also they're gonna be seeking for actual strong drinks to help them cope with reality, right? To try to deal with the perilous times and the amount of stress that he or she is going through, right? So strong drinks, but also looking for answers, right? Because what the mirth is taken away, right? That mirth, the spirit being like cheerful, joy, having a good time. No, they're going to be in the spirit of sorrow, okay, mourning, okay. Yeah.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 32, verses 9 through 12. Verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. But vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats and they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vines.
So, right, rise up, because in the NIV version, that actual section starting from verse 9 on down, it's titled as the women of Jerusalem. They're talking about the Israelite women. Whether you believe it or not, you are an Israelite, okay? Right? Based off your father's seed, right? The so-called black woman. If you call yourself a black woman, most likely, based off your father's seed, you are Southern Kingdom, okay? All right? This is concerning the so-called black woman, so-called Hispanic woman, so-called Latinas, the Native American Indian woman, and the Seminole woman, right? Right? Why no, the careless ones, right? Rise up, right? Stop being complacent because you still just because you may still have access to 911, right? For a modern day slave patrol, modern day Roman soldiers to come to your aid. You still have all your government assistance. You're still able to provide for yourself, right? Just because the time has not hit you yet, you're careless. You think you're in a good pace. You think you're secure, all right? And it says to give ear unto my speech, to this doctrine, this truth, all right? Because when you're supposed to hear, when you hear his voice, you're supposed to be in fear. You're supposed to tremble, to be in fear, like, oh shit, it's about to be bad out here. Let me get right. Let me get in order, okay? Right? Because real soon, our power is going to strip everything from you. It's going to take away your fucking all of the what do you call that shit? Child support away from you. Your family first card, your fucking EBTs, all of your forms of government assistance. It's going to be taken away from you. You being able to beautify yourself. You being able to do whatever that pleases your flesh. It's going to be taken away from you. Because what? It says to carry sackcloth upon thy loins. Get ready to go through pure hell, to catch hell, go through perilous times that's hard to bear. Trouble time, a time that's savage, because savage is a similar term for perilous. Savage, have a lot of people behaving like savages out here. Savages behaving like that. Because what? Because the nature that are bound. They sin upon sin. Right? It's a lawless society out there. Okay? And I'm probably going to take away everything from you. The only thing you're going to have on you is just the clothing on your back. If you're lucky enough to have clothing on your back, and if you do got clothing on your back, you better hope that you're wearing a big ass baggy loose dress. Go ahead and try to be out there in Jacob's trouble with the titties popped out. Little ass booty shorts, damn near, half naked or damn near naked. Men are going to look at men, crazy ass men, and you're going to ravish you, rape you to death probably. Okay, all right. And so, mind you, Illinois, it said it, started January 1st. One of the crimes that people are going to be able to get away with is kidnapping. And within men to race, and this one as a man, the ratio between men and women that's going to fall under that category of being kidnapped is most likely going to be women. Because the women are the weaker vessels. All right? It doesn't matter how many lessons brothers push out about, yo, women, you know, get an order, get a man of the Lord, YAHAWASHI W4Y, a man that sincerely is true, cleave on to him, and just fucking listen to him, and go crazy, but you ain't going to take heed until you are finally going to pure fucking hell. And maybe too late for you by then. All right? This is how the elect men are building that relation with our head and our child, so we can be covered, have that head of protection. You wouldn't want to do that with your man right now, so you can have that head of protection. Because God's about to get that sticker of child in Isaiah 32 and 2.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 32 and 2. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind.
Somebody the elect man. Not Ray Ray, not Blueface, not Bad Bunny. That's what the niggas of the world, right? The mighty men, the strong men that's going to have their hands on the fucking stomach like a woman we read earlier, right? It's going to be folding up out here, right? Talking about the elect men, right? The prophets, most of the prophets and the elect men, those who consider this truth, the very men that you women today keep looking down on that. Apparently, he's not a high value man, right? Those very men who look down upon everyone out here. Yeah.
And a cover from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land.
So pretty much, the elect men are going to be that edge of protection for you women. Okay? But then again, you ain't going to learn, you ain't going to want to believe, and finally, come to sense like, damn, okay, I need to be a man until your last kidnapped, someone beating the shit out of you. You going through hard times with nobody coming to your aid. Okay? Oh yeah, Mike. You go there.
This is the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 10. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets.
These women are about to live in the hard way. Non-believers, especially the one that know your music, like you're still wicked as hell. You're giving your man a hard time, right? You're being a pillar of stress instead of a pillar of rest to your husband, right? Right? And especially the woman that came across as true, but you mocked at it, you scoffed at it, and you said all kinds of idle words against the doctrine. Y'all about to see that our Father is looking at you as a woman. And you're going to be trodden down at the miry street. You're going to be brought low from your throne, all the way down to a very low level. Or hey, you literally going to be trodden down as a miry street. You're going to get laid flat out here. Right? You got to catch your head. Okay?
The book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 26. Men's heart failing them. Right? It says men's
heart failing them. So,
what's about to get?
A lot of men will fold up. They may catch a heart attack from the things that they're seeing or they'll bring you. Right?
Men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
A lot of men, right? A lot of men about to realize that this whole time they're not actual men.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times, it may sound funny, but a lot of men are about to be much worse than women nowadays, man. The women today that looks at these men as so-called men are going to look at you like, damn, you a bitch ass nigga.
The niggas that clean shave, you got the
pretty boy looking niggas.
The things of this world, they get the nice car, the Jordans, they got the nice things, of this world. Basically these women are gonna look at them like, damn, I was with this bitch ass nigga, but I really should have been with one of the men of the Lord.
Being clapped by a bitch ass nigga, so-called man, right? Bitches ain't gonna give a fuck about what car you driving.
What phone you got.
how clean shave, how clean you look. What they gonna care about is, yo, can you protect me or can you protect us?
Yeah, us.
Do you know how to fight? Do you know what's going on? And who's going to be the one that's know what's going on? Who's going to be the one that's going to receive spiritual powers? Who's the one that's going to receive Psalms 144, right? Right? You teach my hands to war and things to fight, right? Who's going to have the answers to why all hell is breaking loose? The elect men, all right? And women are going to desire that because they're going to desperately seek for protection, to be fed, have water to drink, and to be covered, okay? All right? And Ray, Blueface, and fucking Bad Money can't do that for you, all right? They definitely can't do that for you. Hey, no one is edifying.
Allah Ratazah.
All right, it's like you go bad out here. We're bullying. Low one sooner than we believe. Hopefully before January 1st. All right, we're going to close out by giving much due, all praises, honor, and glory to
YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM QADASH.
the honors, our fathers, the elders, and history in this. Much respect, people say, we go lady work, Shalom. We believers at YAHAWAH, sister, so
DTA, Abad the Ball soon, Kwame Ashraf.
Reset, high preparation, and how much you want to have your household. All right, I'm going to close out.